Also on the scene in the early days were the DMZ Collective, Mala, Koki, Loafer and Sergeant Pokes. Let's change the vibe up with one of their best known tracks, Anti-War Dub.
We don't wanna fight tonight. And we don't wanna fuss and fight. Put up the guns and make we all unite.
Digital Mystics, Anti-War Dub from 2006. Digital Mystics, aka Mala and Koki, along with Loafer and MC Sergeant Pokes, brought new influences into the scene. They grew up on jungle, reggae and dub and the whole sound system culture.
It's funny when I look back because DMZ, it became an extension of our bedrooms really, you know, where it was just nice that we were able to share what we were doing in our bedrooms to more and more people. Mala, Digital Mystics, DMZ and Deep Medi. Myself and Koki and Pokes, when we were younger, we all used to MC. We used to MC at like under 18 jungle raves when we were kids, and there'd be parties on in our area every weekend, so we'd go to the parties and, you know, we'd go and MC, and that's how it was. And then when we got to 16, that's when we met Loafer. We set up like a little crew and we'd jam in our bedroom and make mixtapes and play at parties, the same thing. Dubstep wasn't a thing that existed. It was something that, not saying that we created dubstep, what I'm saying is that we just created a vibe that we were feeling from a young age, you know, and it's something that just continued, it didn't stop, and that's probably why we were all very strong friends. At the root of it, there was a very strong common musical love. Me and Koki went down to Big Apple Records with a couple of records that we made, and Hatcher was like, I can play this, and we were like, what, you can play it? And he's like, yeah, I can play it at this dance forward, da-da-da-da, you know how Hatcher is. Anyway, he cut dub plates, he played the records, and it was one of those mad things that you could never imagine that would happen to you, but people actually responded to the music. And it was very strange because I didn't think people would ever dance to the type of music that I was making because I didn't think it was dance music. I'd already done some other stuff in the music industry, and that was a massive eye-opener. I wasn't interested in signing any record deals with anybody or anything like that. That kind of gave me the fire to want to set up my own thing. It wasn't like I was against anything, like I wanted to start war, but I didn't like a lot of the music that I was hearing. The whole kind of like bling bling garage thing had finally died, like hooray, because that was just turning into a mess, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to be a pop star, I wasn't trying to make music that made people like want to wear glamorous clothes and drink champagne and all that. And even now I don't think my music is designed to be played daytime on a radio station. It's just not that type of sound. I don't even think that my music is necessarily designed to be listened to on radio. I feel still now it's a sound system sound.
I'm Mr. Jam, taking you through the story of dubstep on BBC Radio 1 and 1Extra.
I know that you've all been prepared for this, but I thought I'd just remind you just
The dubstep scene was building momentum. By 2004, Skream, Benga and Mala were all establishing themselves as dubstep DJs, as were the likes of Pinch and the Bristol Contingent. Other labels had popped up alongside Temper, Hot Flush, Hyperdub, Code 9's label and DMZ. And by this time, Forward had moved from the Velvet Rooms to Thursday night at Plastic People, a bigger venue in East London.
There's one other thing, no one is to leave this room.
And another night, Filthy Dub, run by Plastician, was pushing the sound. But there was still no big weekend club night for the growing scene. That's where DMZ Crew came in.
I consider myself, I guess, part of the second generation, really, the DMZ generation who came upon dubstep for the very first time in 2005. This is Mary-Anne Hobbs, notorious dubstep evangelist on BBC Radio 1. I got this brand new record from an artist called DJ Pinch in Bristol. It was called War Dub, and it completely changed my life. That was the moment at which I really truly discovered dubstep, but at that point I'd got absolutely no idea what this sound was. I remember being on the top deck of a bus in London and driving through the East End speaking to Pinch about this incredible new sound, and he dispatched me off to DMZ for the very first time and said, this is the place where you'll find this music, it's called dubstep.
Sometimes other symptoms of a similar nature.
I got addicted to listening to that type of sound. So, you know, all the early Scream stuff, Code 9, Benga, even my own music. I was addicted to hearing it on such a big sound system where you could really feel it, because it changed from being something that was just mental to something very physical as well. And it just, luckily, a Saturday night free slot at the venue came about. I think someone called Low, and he was like, yeah, there's a free night, let's come up at a venue called Third Base, which is part of the Mass. And it was just all spare of the moment, you know. I think we went the next week to have a look at the venue on the Wednesday. When we walked into that room, it was just like, this is it.
It takes place in this fantastic, grimy environment in Brixton Town, and when you walk into the room, there's absolutely nothing there. It's pitch black. All you see is a couple of giant speaker stacks with these incredible subs at the bottom.
Went back to Lowe's, we designed the flyer, very minimal, because we were representing ourselves and what we stood for, and we didn't let really anybody else get involved in that representation. You come to our dance, we didn't have on our flyer, this is this music or that music, come and check it out, it's bass music, da 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 da. We didn't have none of that.
I remember on all their early flyers they used to have this amazing strapline that just said, come meditate on bass weight, and that kind of just sums the whole experience up, really.
We just had the DJ's names, and we had come meditate on bass weight, we had the door price, the time it starts, the address of where it was, and that was it.
DMZ's always a banging night to play at, always good. You know, they won't just stick on a mishmash of everyone and all the big names and what's hot now. They will stick to their roots and play what is relevant.
If you know you're booked for DMZ, you have to have something that no one's heard before. You wouldn't just turn up with your regular sort of Saturday night record box. You would have to have something no one's heard before in your life. It's almost like that's the entry fee for a DJ to go in. Like, literally, you've just made it, and that's the reason you were 5 minutes late for your set, because you were burning the CD in the car on the way there.
Everyone who was going there at the start, it was like to support Digital Mystics, everyone who was putting on this night. I don't think a lot of people knew actually at the start what they were going to hear. And it did become one of the most important nights for me.
I never thought people would come, but it wasn't about people coming, it was about us doing. I felt like we had so much fire and so much energy, it didn't matter what anybody else was doing. We just wanted to do our thing, and we wanted to do it our way.
Once you've walked through the doors of DMZ and you've crossed that threshold, within 10 minutes you'll either be completely converted and you will be worshipping at the shrine of dubstep, or you'll be running for your life. There's kind of no intermediate reaction whatsoever, really.
Their first birthday party turned out to be a landmark moment in dubstep history. Here's Mala.
We've been going on for a year, and at the first event there was like 150, 200 people, and at the second event there was 300, and it was like, right, every time the new DMZ was on, more people was coming down. And then March came, which was our first birthday, and I just remember thinking that, a little bit unsure about how the night's going to be, as I still am now. I'm always unsure how it's going to be. I'm never sure how many people are going to turn up, you know. And I remember going outside and seeing this queue, and I was like, whoa, 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 that people are actually here. And not just one or two people, there's already a lot of people here.
There was like 1,000 people outside queuing up, like from all over the world, like not just England either. There was people who came over from America. It was just like, wow. I remember looking at Mala, and he was just like, what do I do?
The club owner was like, you know, we might have to do something, you might have to move. You know, I was like, nah, we're not gonna have to move. There's a lot of people there, but it's not that many, it's just a lot for a small party, you know. Within an hour of opening, we was at full capacity.
The little basement room that they used to use at the church in Brixton was just heaving, absolutely heaving at the seams.
And there was still people turning up. So the club owner was like, look, we've got the big room upstairs if you want to take it. So we went upstairs, quickly tried to sound check, got the room ready, and I remember going on the mic and I said to the people something like, look, thanks for coming down, blah, 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 blah. I said, look, all of us lot are alright because we're all inside. I said, but there's another like 400 or 500 people outside that can't get in. So I don't know what you lot are saying, but if you don't mind, do you want to join us upstairs and we make this party bigger? And everyone just like went mad. And then luckily there's a stairway that goes from Third Base up into the Mass. We just opened up the door and Youngster started off the set upstairs, and that was it.
It was insane. It was a really, really memorable night. it was a really good time. There was so much good music at the time as well. Actually just got a bit goose pimply.
It just felt like this amazing threshold had been crossed in that moment. It was a wonderful moment. It was a real kind of coming of age for them, I think.